Mantras, when repeated, chanted with the right intention, with the right pronunciation, it will give you a magical result. The idea using the mantra is to prevent from this cycle of life, to gain moksha. Also talking about the journey of Ayurveda, why Ayurveda came in Atharva Veda time. Was it not prevalent before? Yes, it was, but it was not used so much. It was not that popular. When we utter a mantra in our mouth, it's a vibration inside our mouth, hitting the palate, and then going into the throat, and then vibrating in your head. So that's how the vibration of a Sanskrit mantra or a stotra has impact on your brain waves in releasing the stress, changing the brain wave, harmonizing the brain waves. Astrological placement of planets, either it could be beneficial to you or it could be afflicting you negatively. Astrological planetary position is related to what happened in the past. In this life, you use the mantras or you use the Kavach, you use the shlokas to evolve yourself and free yourself from those karmic clearance that you need to do to protect you from any possible negativity that could come from your past life, or to protect you from any current life energy. It could be energy of a pollution or radiation or a place or people.
Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's cinematic. Before we dive into the podcast, I just want to take the time to ask you to please like and subscribe to this channel. This will help us grow the podcast, invite more guests on, and share their wisdom as we grow Illuminating dialogues. I also want to share with you that I'm offering one-to-one coaching. This is a space where we navigate together to clarify your vision, align yourself to your values, and achieve transformation. If you feel called for that, you can book a session with me on my website, Jhoty.com. There should be some testimonials as well there. The links are in the description below, and also there's a link for you to join our WhatsApp community as well, where you can discuss these episodes. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the podcast ahead. Hello everybody, and welcome back to Illuminating Dialogues number 43. We really have the pleasure of sitting down and talking with Dr. Sujatha Kekada again. How are you, Dr. Sujatha?
I'm very well, Jyoth. Nice to be with you here and have this wonderful discussion again.
Awesome. Thank you for sitting down and taking the time out of your busy schedule to sit down with me again and share with the viewers. It's our, I think, fourth time, so you're really a returning champion on the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for being here. So for those of you who haven't tuned in before, we started off way back in Illuminating Dialogues number 9, where we had an introduction to Ayurveda. And since then, we've been unfolding this Ayurvedic journey, learning more, dosha cycles, and going into deeper understandings of how we can align our body, our process to nature. So those of you who are not familiar with Dr. Sujatha Kekada is a certified Ayurvedic doctor from Karnataka, India, practiced as an Ayurvedic consultant in Europe, and is currently the head physician and co-founder at the AmrtaSiddhi Ayurvedic Center in Bali, which I visited in 2023. So today, hopefully, we'll delve into the topic of mantras and yoga for healing, a very vast and expansive topic that you mentioned before we started this call. So this podcast is Illuminating Dialogue, so hopefully we'll come together and journey together in a dialogue that will illuminate ourselves and hopefully the listeners as well. So with that being said, just to brighten things up, my first question to you in 2025 is, what lights you up for this year?
My new project, I think I was just sharing with you before when you asked me how my day, and this has been my dream to create a education center where I would like to share the knowledge of yoga, Ayurveda from its roots for people to learn and apply for their life, live that, and whatever way that could support them to be healthy, find their happiness, feel comfortable within themselves for who they are, So yeah, so I started this project end of last year, and it's continuing, and I'm looking forward to finish that and have that flourish and see people learning, connecting together, and enjoying it.
Amazing. That sounds so amazing. And yeah, I'm looking forward to if I visit Bali one time to see that environment, because it's really nice that we're having this podcast, and I can imagine a learning environment where that learning and teaching is happening. So as we progress in this podcast, I'm wondering if you could start us off um, with how were mantras and japas first used for healing. So I know in the first podcast we did together, we sort of hinted on this, and that back in the day, people maybe were using japas for healing. So how were they structured, and in what way was healing carried out through this
Mm-hmm.
modality?
Mm-hmm. Let's start with mantra.
Okay.
Mantra means a syllable or a word or a sentence, which is basically coming from Vedas.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also it's believed, it's not something created by humans. So, belief is that it's created, it's given to humans by gods, demigods, deities, and something more than human power. So, which contains lots of power. Upon reciting it, repeating it over a number of time, possess the power to heal, manifest things in the human realm. So mantras are something much more has got magical power when it is recited. And also mantra means mantra trayate. That means it carries you over to another realm. So it's also something upon contemplating on it, many ways to do the japa. Basically, the word japa means you repeat the mantra, so that japa. So you use that to burn off yourself, so transform yourself using the mantra to get the desired result, what the mantra is supposed to give, or what you want to achieve through using that mantras in your sadhana. So this is actually the mantra. So it could be a bija mantra, it could be a sentence, it could be something that enthralls a seed, the power of a deity, or a place, or something we invoke yantras also. So this is how the mantras are used, and it is not human created. And
Okay.
they are magical when it works. Mantras, when repeated, chanted with the right intention, with the right pronunciation, it will give you a magical result, what that mantra is supposed to give you. Hence, these are something coming from believed to be in Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Atharva Veda, and Samaveda, that's given to human beings from the gods.
Mm-hmm.
So hence it is a special, powerful thing. So there's everything, the mantra, what we use. So maybe sometimes people use the word mantra for a few things, but mantra, the real mantra is which is only present in the Vedas.
Okay. And from previous illuminating dialogues, we also understand that the script is also Devanagari. So
Mm-hmm.
Deva, I think, means like a god or goddess. And also, we're
Yeah.
talking to people from the Celtic tradition in Wales. And they were also mentioning that the language, the ancient language there, also seems to have this property of the language from the land, also seems to have a property which can ignite different parts of us deeper.
Mm-hmm.
So in the last illuminating dialogues, we were talking about the chakras and the doshas. So I'm one, and you mentioned yantras. Hopefully, we'll go into that later. But for the
Mm-hmm.
actual word mantra, what does that mean? So I know man means mind.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could maybe explain the word mantras and also
Mm-hmm.
bij. So maybe viewers might not be familiar. What does bij mantra mean as well, and why might
Mm-hmm.
that be useful?
Mm. Bij means seed. It's a seed mantra because Mantra also has a different power. The basic mantra is called the Bij mantra. Then you have a Madhyama mantra. So that's something given to, early when you begin, you're given a Bij mantra. And when you advance in that, you master that, then you're given some like a middle powered mantras. And then you get an advanced mantra. So this is how. So these mantras are also need to be given to you by a guru to you. So knowing what is your capacity and what you're capable of, a guru chooses the right mantra to support your path, your journey. So starting with a child gets a bija mantra, then you're in a teenage time, you get a madhyama mantra, and then you get a advanced mantra later stage of your life. And also, as you know, in a yogic philosophy, there is a four avastas. So you have a childhood stage, and then you have a yavana, then madhyama, and then vruddhavasta. So these mantras are classified according to the stage of life you're in. Basically, the idea using the mantra is to prevent from this cycle of life to gain moksha. So that's how mantras are used in the Vedic period. And hence, it's also used for bringing healing. Back then, it's also talking about the journey of Ayurveda, why Ayurveda came in Atharva Veda time. Was it not prevalent before? Yes, it was, but it was not used so much. It was not that popular. The science existed, but people were able to heal and cure just by using the mantras. Because they had the siddhi of these mantras. Hence, there's one example of something that this I know from a close friend of mine who studied with this a guru, Ayurvedic guru. That guru has the ability, the power of this mantra. That in snake poison, like if a person getting bitten by a snake, this person had a Garuda mantra that he would invite the snake to come back and suck back the poison out of, or he would chant the Garuda mantra and the poison would not spread into his body and harm that person. So this is the magic, this is the power of the mantra. When you master that, you have the ability to create this magical healing or magical manifestation.
And do you have
So
to be do you have to be a certain, like you said, avasta to
mhm.
to start using that mantra? And how does, I guess, one build that avasta? So I remember in the last podcast we were talking about, before we start looking spiritually, we have to focus on the outer body, right? Like how we are
Mhm,
in the
mhm,
outer
mhm.
body. So how does that process work about also building the avasta in terms of mantras as well?
Mhm. As I said, the Bija mantras is that what you start with. So along with the mantra chatting, there is a lot of regimens for you to follow.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you eat? When do you sleep? What time you get up? What time you practice? How you practice this mantra? Where do you practice this mantra? For example, some mantras you need to practice underwater. Some mantras you need to practice on the top of a rock, or some mantras you need to practice on the top of a mountain. So there is so many different way to siddhi this mantra. For example, one of the thing that I read in reading in some ancient books, that Gayatri mantra, which has got the power of the sun and such a fire energy. For some people, you need to practice this underwater so that it doesn't burn you. So these are the different stories I've heard from some people who have this ability to have mastered some mantras or practice this for so long time. So mantras can have a very strong power. So you have to practice in certain place for that to work and not destroy you.
And that's actually bringing to mind that in the Sikh tradition they have this beer ras. So that's like a flavor which is fiery that warriors would use, mantras.
Mhm,
And then you also have
mhm.
a shant ras, which is like,
Yeah.
so it's almost like the different mantras for different also environments that you're going to deal with in life as well.
Yeah, and same thing in the music also.
You're right.
The music have these feelings to that, the nature of the music itself, the shanta and bhair, all those things
Ah,
comes in the music also. Because and mantras are nothing but it's a vibration, right? It's a sound
yeah.
with vibration. music, like a classical music, would have this component in it too.
Okay, and that vibration corresponds to the seasons of nature and also the seasons of, like we discussed previously, of us as
Hmm.
humans. So as
Hmm.
you mentioned to explain mantra first and then japa. So is there a
Hmm.
difference there between mantra and japa?
Yes, mantras are just a mere word or a syllable or thing. When you repeat that, that
Hmm.
becomes japa. So when you
Okay.
repeat it, mantra, do the japa, so you repeat the mantra, that's called japa.
Hmm. And is there a certain way someone should do the japa? So not just a
Mhm.
location, but in terms of their attention or awareness. So
Mhm.
let's say someone
Mhm.
had an ailment and
Mhm.
they would have to do a japa. In what way would
Mhm.
they carry that out?
Okay, so there's a four method to it. Basically, how you start. First, you start the japa with saying it out loud, so that the other people can hear. Then you start with whispering once you practice that. So once you clear the pronunciation is clear, then you just whisper where your lip is moving, and then after that you just do manana. That means only in the mind. And then the final stage is you're not recalling the japa, so the mantra itself comes to you. So you don't recall; it just a flow into you. It's called ajapa. Means you're not doing the japa, you're doing not doing the japa. So that's the fourth stage where you have mastered. The mantra is in your head already without you making an effortless recollection of that. So this
Okay,
is how you start. Loud, whispering, quietly recalling it, and then you reach a stage that mantra flows into your head. You're not making any effort to recall it.
I see. And these become manifest within the human and then they would progress to another mantra.
That's where the mastery, I think, when you have the
Okay.
ajapa state, you have the mastery of the mantra. The mantra is just flows in your head. You're there and you can connect it when you want, and it becomes, and you use that as a whatever that's for healing or manifesting things. So these and for these mantras in a traditional way, these mantras need to be given to you by a guru, knowing you what's your path and what benefit. It's almost like a tool for your own journey, for your consciousness to evolve and your own way to get out of this cycle of life and death.
So the concept of the guru system is, I think, coming from the West. Um, the concept of a guru system is a bit different because in our sort of schooling system or work system, it's sort of like we have to follow a pathway. So you mentioned somebody knowing you and your state. So how would your state be determined? Is it like your type of dosha or your type of quality within you that would need
Mhm.
certain
Quality,
growth?
the in natural talents you have got,
Okay.
your guru would know, okay, he sees you, what's capable, what's possible for you,
Hmm.
and what's naturally in you. It's also, astrology plays another part in this case. So a guru in the olden days would know the whole birth chart of this child to see, what he carries from the past life, where he begins, and what the influence of different planets in his path. So what is favorable, what's detrimental, and then he would see is okay. If this is something weak in you, you probably could use this mantra to get the protection of certain mantra. So things like Kavach comes in that place.
Mm.
This is another area related to mantra, but Kavach is not a mantra, so they come in more of a Stotras or shlokas, those kind of stuff.
Okay, and I think this is actually what I was going to ask next. So, how are these all structured then in terms of knowledge and vibration? So, when I
Mhm.
was researching for this podcast, it was shlokas, Stotras, Kavach, Sutras. So,
Mhm.
I'm not
Mhm.
familiar with. I've come across these terms, but I'm not really familiar in depth with
Mhm.
their structure, their meanings, and how they work. So, if you
Mhm.
would be able to help guide us slowly through
Mhm.
slokas, strota,
Mhm.
kavach, and
Mhm.
sutras.
Okay, so mantra is clear, coming from Vedas,
Yes.
bija mantras or a word or a a sentence, that's something that you can use, you repeat, you do the japa of that, and you gain the power of that mantras. And then we have the shloka, which are called verses. Basically, any Sanskrit literature is written in using the form of shlokas with the help of a certain ending, certain number of lines, certain number of words, like they call chandas. That's a grammatical way how you write a shloka. This many numbers of words in there are rhyming with certain words. So that's shloka, basically verses. And then we have got the stotra. So stotras are nothing but a song or a poem, Sanskrit again, or a praise of God, like a Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra, Lakshmi Sahasranama Stotra. So these are stotras, which is a long poetic praising for God or goddess, describing the different forms and different energy and different possibilities of who this God or goddess is, and revealing the essence of God or goddess. That's stotra.
Mm-hmm. So do these sutras work in the same way as mantras, that when they're repeated, these qualities also are being felt by that user?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Shloka, stotra also have powerful things, powerful energy, like a lot of the time. So basically, when we utter a mantra in our mouth, it's a vibration inside our mouth, hitting the palate, and then going into the throat, and then vibrating in your head. So that's how the vibration of a Sanskrit mantra or a stotra has impact on your brain waves and has the calming, relaxing impact. So that's how it works in a psychological condition, anxiety condition, stressful condition, how this mantra works in releasing the stress, changing the brain wave, harmonizing the brain waves. And a lot of scientific researches have shown, you heard of the Lalita Sahasranama and the Vishnu Sahasranama, right? So if you go into the temple, usually in the morning, early morning temple, they start playing the Vishnu Sahasranama. So the energy of the Vishnu Sahasranam, the vibration is in such a way that it activates our energy. It activates our energy to start the day, get going, it's an initiating energy. And then in the evening at 6 o'clock, the Sandhya Kala in the evening, temples pray the Lalita Sahasranama. So this is to just unwind, calm down, more on a moon kind of energy. So this is how these mantras play a role when it is played in the temple or time of the day. So certain mantras to strengthen the daytime, certain mantras is to bring the nourishing energy in the night. So this is how the power of the mantra, one example of it. And a lot of research has shown that people, when they listen to this Lalita Sahasranama in the evening, their level of stress decreases, quality of sleep increases, and the recovery is much more faster. Their battery fills up in the morning much quicker than people who did not listen to these mantras.
Wow. So the whole community is basically affected by when these mantras are played. And if we go back to the guru tuning into that individual, would that individual, of course, partake in the community, but would they be expected to be familiar with all the types of deities, or only focus on some deity qualities rather than others?
The guru or the Sishya?
So the student.
The student. There's also a concept called Icha Devata. So whatever God you feel inclined to, because, basically, this concept of the six God, what we call the Vishnu, Shiva, Kartikeya, Ganesha, and the Devi, they are just as simple principles we call tattva.
Element.
Yeah, so element of who they are, what they represent. So whatever that you incline to, and these tattvas have a different feelings. Krishna is more of bringing joy and love, that expression. Vishnu is more of a manifestation, the magnification, and Shiva is, nirvana. You let go of everything, and then you find peace in nothingness. And Shakti she's the one who creates everything. So there is a different tattva, and based on your karmic background, your likes and dislikes, you have a little inclination to certain god more than the other, or certain tattva, let's say. So it's not like a god in the sense an individual. We talk like okay, this uncle is more, I like this auntie, I don't like, not like that. Or of those principles, some people like to be in this point of joy and singing and happiness, and they may feel more connected to Shiva. Somebody is more austerity and that centeredness and focus, like Shiva. So, or sorry, before it was Krishna. So in this way, you might have some inclination. So that's what you feel more easy to connect, and whatever deity you connect, you choose the mantra related to that.
Okay, and how does that relate to the cycle of, you were mentioning birth and death? How does following your inclination relate to that cycle?
See, the Hindu philosophy believes that we come back again and again until we realize who we are, and until we can dissolve the material understanding and the physical understanding, and we can consciousness through our mind, we can evolve and feel the oneness. This is the process of life, what we call the moksha, or ananda, or the permanent bliss. Now we find bliss by reading a good book, or eating a nice meal, or connecting to a friend, or looking at the moon. So there is a different way we connect, but we want to feel that blissful state without having these things. So mantra can help us in our spiritual growth. I think I mentioned this before in other podcasts also. Spirituality is understanding what's real and what's not real. So bringing our awareness to understand what is real and what's not real, mantra helps us to let go of those attachment and illusions, and all the six enemies of the mind: kama, krodha, moha, mada, matsarya, these things.
Amazing. And so I think we've covered shlokas, stotra, sutras as well. What is the concept of sutras?
Sutra means a string. That means, string is tied, and when it's like a cocoon, like the silkworm cocoon. So it's like that's it, a sutra. And you know that the word sutra in Sanskrit is silk, means sutra. Yeah, and even in Indonesia here, they also call
Really?
the silk is called sutra, kind sutra, they say. So that means the cocoon, you open, you can pull it out and you get a long stretch of thread. So sutras are like that. It's a how would you say? How a manual is written of a doctrine or a principle, or a describing something, a grammar or something, a concept related to. So it's a doctrine is written. So that means you have a one sentence of sutra, and then you can expand it with commentary. So Patanjali Yoga Sutra is like that. So, so it's a sentence says about something, and then you can expand it. So it's a manual, basically. All the manuals of instruction is written in the sutra form.
Okay, so I think Punawasu also mentioned Patanjali's, and it was about a blueprint. So it's like information densely coded.
Yeah,
And
exactly. It's like a silkworm cocoon, so you can pull that into make a big, long thread.
And would that be up to the person to decode themselves, or would that be part of a community efforts or something
It's
like
a
this?
community effort, like even if you take the Ayurveda, there is a one not a chapter, how you called, in the treatise, the big compilation work, there's one section called Sutra Satsthana. So it describes everything that exists in the book in that section in the Sutra Sthana. So about manifestation of the disease, different disease, treatment to the disease. So he describes the principles of diagnosing principles of choosing a medicine, principles of how to handle a patient, how to do panchakarma. It's described in one section.
Wow.
And then it is expanded in different areas.
So could you maybe give one example of, not to put any pressure on you, but to give an example of like ailment, disease, and then how that is then commented upon, and then maybe like how they would give a mantra to that and an ailment. So maybe we could practically see that pathway if possible.
Let's say there is a shloka which describes what is health in Ayurveda, which is described as samadosha, samadmishta, samadhatu malakriya, prasannatmendriya manaha swastyaitya vidiyate. So basically it says a balanced dosha, balanced physical tissues, proper functioning of the Agni, proper elimination of waste, and pleasant state of mind gives you health. So this is a definition of health. And then you decode, okay, what are doshas? What is a balanced dosha? What is a perfectly performing Agni means? What is it, the proper elimination of the feces? What does it mean to have a pleasant mind? So then, then comes the description of whole thing into a whole book itself.
Wow, so it's a different form of learning. It's more intuitive led, as
Yes,
well as
and also
intellectual.
it is then we call the tippani or the commentary is written by discussion between these scholars together, few scholars together. They interpret and they say, oh, this is this, or another person would say it maybe not this, or another third person would say, oh, I think you're right, maybe this is both are true. So that's how, when you study, Yoga Sutras or any other these kind of manuals, there is a commentary. You need to read the commentary, and then you need to read the right commentary to understand. The sutras can be expanded, and it's insights of many people put together. One example in Ayurveda, when we talk about heart, it's not only just the physical heart that we have on our chest, but also relates to the heart, the center of each and every cell. And heart is, is also where it carries the feelings and emotions and memories in the deeper cellular level. So in that way, you make this connection and you see the bigger picture, not just a mere exact translation.
Okay, so one probably needs a bit of access to their heart in order to tap into that awareness. So you also mentioned Yoga Sutras and Bhagavad Gita. Is there sutras not just written by Patanjali but other people in different fields? Maybe you can give us a taster into like it's yoga as well, Ayurveda. Is it also like for technology or for like plants, things like that?
Yeah, I think the Chanakya has written about the politics. There's I cannot recall exactly, or the Nala has written about food and nutrition. So there's so many of these textbooks or manual for cooking or manual for politics, manual for yoga, manual for preparing medicine. So there are so many manuals as such. How to comes in the form of sutras.
Okay, that's very useful to know.
Mhm.
So, going to our fourth section, which was Kavach as well. So we've touched on that briefly. Would you be able to expand on how does, you said it was slightly different. So in terms of knowledge and vibration, how does Kavach sit in this ancient wisdom?
The word kavach means an armor or a protection. So basically, kavach, or it could be a stotra, or a song, or a poem, or a praise, which is particularly meant to get the protection of the particular deity. So a song or a poetic way of singing of Sri Hanuman about the glory of the Hanuman is about this is usually used to get protection. So there is, you can have one for the Vishnu related or Krishna Kavach. There is a Vishnu Kavach. So different kind of Kavach, mainly meant for providing you protection.
And I'm reminded of one of the gurus, Guru Gobind Singh. I think he was writing Suraj Kavach, Ram Kavach. There was also Brahm Kavach. So there's like different, and so for the user, is that also encompassed in the healing modality when they're going about life? Why would they want to recite this? Would it be for an ailment? Would it be for like negative thinking, or if they're going into situations?
I think these kavach have a general protection of anything that's going to harm you, come from externally, which could be your mind. And also, I just mentioned briefly about the astrology, right?
Yes.
So astrological placement of planets, either it could be beneficial to you or it could be afflicting you negatively, certain planets. So when you have this negative impact of the planets, which create obstacles or accidents or diseases, so you want to have protection from this, which is naturally in your path based on your last life karma phala, basically. So the planets place it themselves in your chart based on what's been your karmic experience in the last life. So basically, your astrological planetary position is related to what happened in the past. In this life, you use the mantras, or you use the kavach, you use the shlokas to evolve yourself and free yourself from those karmic clearance that you need to do. So this is the use of those kavach to protect you from any possible negativity that could come from your past life, or to protect you from any current life energy. It could be energy of a pollution or radiation or a place or people.
And I think, what you were saying there about planets, I think recently, probably all over the world, we recently had a 6-planet alignment, I think. So I guess...
Yes, I heard about that, yes.
Yeah, I guess that also has some effect on people as well. So does this affect at all the koshas and our wider aura? So the koshas, like we talked about last time, that goes in the way, but I also believe that we also have a wider field. And is that also something we should keep in mind when we're being around people, or in order to be healthy and a bit more disease-free? How does that, if you can give a brief intro, how does the mantras also affect the koshas and the aura as well?
The different koshas, right? Manomaya kosha, Annamaya kosha, all those things. So there are different mantras which can enhance the circulation. There's mantra to enhance your Agni. There's mantras to enhance your focus. So when you choose these different mantras to support these different layers, for those layers to vibrate and do its physiology properly. So mantras have impact on physiological level and also psychological level. So mantras can enhance, this would be an effect on the dosha. So mantra can calm the vata or increase the vata, increase the agni or decrease the agni, or increase the pitta, decrease the pitta. So that's why, as I said before, certain mantras need to be chanted underwater because likely to increase the pitta, or certain mantra need to be practiced on the top of a hill, or certain mantras to be sitting on the ground, so that the energy, what it's going to create, you don't want to have its negative effect on you.
Okay, I think that's where the guidance is important, because maybe one person can look on YouTube.
It is not something to play around. I have heard from people, not myself experience, like a wrongly, read in some books also from some of the sadhus, who a person did not follow the instruction, did certain mantras and created this enormous feeling of burning of fire inside their body. So mantras are so powerful. It need to be practiced with such a shraddha, faith and discipline and respect.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for putting it in that context. So
Okay.
next, I
So
was.
it's not that the mantras are bad
Hmm.
because mantras still give you the energy. It's not going to teach you, oh, you had a glass of alcohol and you've been not disciplined, I'm going to punish you. It's not like a mantra is neutral, right? It is beyond the human emotions. But it's going to give certain impact on you, but you did not prepare your body to take that energy. It's just you need to see it a way that are you eligible? Are you worthy? Is your body worthy? Is your mind is capable of receiving this energy? It's not that the mantra is going to be mean and punish you. It's just the vessel to feel this vibration or the benefit of the energy, that's not in the right place.
I think that's a really important point as well to hold in that context. So,
Mhm.
um, we did speak on yantra as well, and it
Mhm.
sounds like mantra, but I know it's different. It's a visual format. Could you maybe give us
Yeah,
insight
the
into what
word
yantra
yantra
is?
simply means a machine. It's a tool to make things faster, efficient. So it's putting together the representation of a deity universe in a geometrical form to enhance the whatever practice you're going to do. So you have this yantra, the geometrical form of representation of a deity, and it's all about, and then use the mantra to invoke that deity in there using the tantra. So tantra
Mm.
is a ritualistic way to know how to use this mantra and yantra together.
Oh, so mantra is the speech, the japa.
Yeah, the sound, the vibration. Yantra is a machine to activate that machine. Through that
Okay,
machine, you activate the deity.
yeah.
And how you do it is tantra.
Oh, so the tantra is the practical application, like
Yes.
sitting
How
down
you, yeah.
and watching that machine.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. And for the yantra, I guess I think I've explored a little bit. It's sort of so what they would call sacred geometry. So I guess a lot of cultures have the sacred geometry, but I understand the depth is a bit more in detail. So there's yantras that embody certain energies and certain like the chakras as well. They would look like the chakras as well. Is that correct?
Yes, one example is it's not that I know much, a lot about
Hmm.
it, but a simple little thing I know, like a Shri Yantra, so which is yantra related to the goddess Shakti. So, and it's basically representation of her. So there's different layers to it related to the different layers of chakra and liver, different layers of awareness. So the worshipper would start with the base chakra, purifying with the different pujas and ahutis and avanas and things. So this is the way you basically connect to the supreme, goddess. So chakra is part of it. This is evolution of your own self. What happens in
Mm.
the chakra is evolution of who you are. So whether you are experience the stability, groundedness from the Muladhara chakra, or you experience who you are, your sexuality, those things, or you experience the Manipura chakra related to your relationship to the world and your contribution to the world, your connection to love and experiencing love, and your self-expression through words, sound, whatever that, and then connecting beyond the physical body into what exists. So this is your own evolution. And when you do use yantra, you're also connect and you help with the mantras and the tantras to evoke that chakras inside you and purify just chakra and evolve through that chakra.
Wow. And it's such a profound technology. And is is there? I guess there's not just one path and way to use it. Is it personalized, or again, it's seeking guidance of the
Seeking
uh,
guidance, as you
yeah.
said, you seek a deity, and then you master certain mantras. You have your morning rituals and pujas and stuff. And when you're ready to achieve more, then you start worshiping the yantras in a very proper way.
Hmm. And it's my understanding that the yantras also encode different elements and also masculine and feminine polarities in their geometry as well.
Mhm.
Does that can that also be helpful for well-being and for health as well?
Yes, everything for us to sustain this body and stay healthy, with that to connect to a deity and to our consciousness. Everything is not only just physical health, whatever that you desire, once you kind of connect to this deity, and the deity through the yantra appeals to you.
Mm.
So there's no one thing that you can achieve, or you cannot achieve everything. Everything is possible.
Amazing. And so if we, I think we covered how do they work as a vehicle. So if we move on to your practice of AmrtaSiddhi, I notice you have a focus on Hatha Yoga, and we actually touched on this in previous episodes as well. Um, I'm just wondering, why is the focus on Hatha Yoga, and then also, what do other forms of yoga provide for the health and well-being too?
Okay. I simply want to clarify here, if what we talk about yoga in its true sense and from its origin, only thing it started is Hatha Yoga, which is known to be, basically the mythological story is this Hatha Yoga is taught by Shiva to Parvati. So basically, Ha means sun and Tha means moon. So basically, it is balancing between the Ida and Pingala, and for the life force to flow through the Sushumna, that's what means is nirvana or mukti or the enlightenment. So the purpose of the Hatha Yoga is that, and that's how the yoga started. When you talk about yoga, it is Hatha Yoga.
Aha.
Later on, different people, started about Ashtanga Yoga. These are the still related to this basic foundation of Hatha Yoga. And then we had Ashtanga Yoga, which is a bit more done more a structured way with different levels. You start with A level, then you do with the B level, then you do the C level, like a preliminary stage, middle stage, and advanced stage.
Mm.
This is like humans who came in and want to teach this in a structured way to maybe to a Westerner, a group of people. So it's like education of yoga. Then it came into one method is Ashtanga Yoga, which is a fast-paced, structured yoga. This is how the Hatha Yoga itself transformed into Ashtanga Yoga. And then you have Iyengar Yoga, which is taught by Iyengar. And he used more props and things to support people to reduce injuries and stuff. It's the same Hatha Yoga itself, but people gave it different structures.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, there's a way I practice Ayurveda at AmrtaSiddhi. So I cannot call Sujata's Ayurveda, right? So it's Ayurveda, but I use it in a way, it's structured way, so people can understand and follow it.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, Hatha Yoga is the base of yoga, and people, modify it to the convenience and teaching method.
Mm-hmm.
So we still keep it as a raw as it. We don't, use any structure like a Hatha Yoga. There's a structure. Okay, so you do A, B, C, D in Ashtanga Yoga, and you do stay in each pose for 10 breaths, and so there's no such an extreme structure. So we say, okay, minimum 5 to 6 breaths. Feel yourself, spend time. So this is the original state of yoga. So we do use sometimes props. But whatever the later stage yoga came, I mean, yes, there is a Kundalini yoga, which is also a way to access the Kundalini through this yoga method. But if you're not able to have a steady body, steady mind, evoking your Kundalini is not the best thing to do. And so it is a way to move prana, but you need to be very careful how you evoke this prana with the practice and rituals and having this ready. It's not like the energy is inside you, you activate that energy. Is your body ready to feel that energy and move that energy through? That should be the question.
Mm. And that's what we talked about last time as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you'll be able to give some insight into the raw form of Hatha Yoga, and maybe some basic, explain some basic poses that people might find helpful at home and that you've seen helped people a lot, some basic stances,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to some of the more structured systems out there that you've seen,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, help people in their healing and well-being journey.
See, at our center, we have a regular classes. We have a beginner's class, people who haven't tried yoga, just to get their move body, stretch the body thing. And then we have an advanced class. They can go into the deeper into the poses, do some breath work, all those things. So it's just teaching asana with pranayama, with dhyana,
Mm.
dharana. So this is, you go through the so those practice. And then, while they're in the clinic, the part which is yama niyama, yoga starts with yama niyama. So discipline to yourself, discipline to the society, understanding yourself, understanding good conduct and behavior, controlling of the mind. Then you start with the asana. So basically, hatha yoga is all about the ashta angas of the yoga. So the 8 limbs of yoga. You start from yama niyama, and then you do with the asana, and then you do with the pranayama, and different states of meditation before you attain the final stage of meditation, the dharana state. So this is basically hatha yoga. So you look into the dosha of the person, the whether you need to increase the agni of the person or you need to calm down the mind of the person. So we offer therapeutic classes, knowing what need to be done for this person other than the regular morning routine of exercise of asanas. So this is how a hatha yoga practice would be, to see what is it you want to achieve. So certain asanas would have benefit towards balancing your dosha, certain pranayamas works into moving energies in your certain chakras or different nadis. So basically use this hatha yoga as a tool to spiritually grow once you have a healthy, strong physical body.
Okay, it's very precise way of zooming in and seeing what that person needs.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, if you could explain a bit deeper, how does this help with the rejuvenation and Agni? So I think we
Mm-hmm.
mentioned Agni in one of the first one or two dialogues, and that's a digestifier. So how
Mm-hmm.
does Hatha Yoga help with the Agni, and then how does that help with um, moving these nutrients into the body?
Mm-hmm. Agni's ability to process, either it's your food, either or your experience. So basically, when you practice yoga, it helps to circulate the prana. If the prana is circulating well, it's going to combust your Agni healthy way.
Hmm.
Neither the prana being too much or too little. So it's a perfect for this utensil. So that's one how the Agni, the yoga, Hatha yoga helps your Agni. And then once the Agni is working well, the nutrition you give is going to nourish your body and it will rejuvenate. So this is how the different pranayamas can be nurturing. Or being in Shavasana at the end of the yoga practice is also rejuvenating. It just helps to whatever you have created the energy to go deeper into your cells and absorb and nurture. So it's very important. End of the yoga and yogasana practice, you lie in shavasana for those whole energy to go deeper into your cells and feel absorbed. So
Yeah.
this is how the different pranayamas practices helps to rejuvenate, increase the agni, or do a cleanse of whatever is accumulated, move it out of your system through the organs of expulsion.
Wow. And I think that's so key. I think people need to make time for that as well in the
Mhm.
way it's
Another
structured.
thing I would like to add
Yeah.
here is also when you do practice yoga properly,
Mm.
it also works on your marmas. Marmas are the energy points on the surface of your body
Yeah.
or underneath the skins, or where the junction of different ligaments and nerves and veins are concentrated. So that means you bend down in a certain way, you press, your inguinals or your knee or something. It activates certain marmas, and either to move the energy where the energy is blocked or where the energy is overflowing, to control that. So that's why the simple difference between just the exercise and yoga is this, because it works on the subtle energy pathways, and working then it works internally on your chakras too.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, I never, because we were talking about Ayurvedic massage, I think at the end of the last podcast, but I never thought
Mhm.
yoga actually includes marma
Mhm.
points as well.
Mhm.
So, yeah, does this practice, I think you did touch on it, but does this work for all doshas, or would a specific dosha, person who's balanced towards one dosha, have to practice pranayama or yoga in a specific way?
Yes, there is a specific way to practice yoga pranayama, yes, based on because every asana has a result to give you. Every pranayama has an impact on you. So you will choose what impacts you want. So if you're feeling very anxious and hyper, where your vata is high, you want something to calm. Brahmari pranayama would be very excellent to do in this situation. And if you're feeling very lethargic and dull, then you would do Agnisara pranayama. So where you want to increase a bit of a fire inside you. So this way you adopt even asanas also. If you're very vata, you want to do more grounding poses, more on a sitting down poses. If you're a pitta, you want to do more dynamic, moving from one pose to other pose. Same thing with the kapha also, because with pitta, you need to do dynamic poses just to keep that fire energy. They have lots of energy, you want to burn the energy, but kaphas need to do a bit more of a dynamic poses to activate the energy because they have lots of stored energy which is not moving. So you need to create the kinetic energy in kapha where there's a lot of stagnant energy in kapha.
Wow. And I think that also links back to sort of the mantras or the inclinations. So there's the doshas, like you were mentioning. Does that also affect how we would use mantras and move the energies, whether they be stagnant or a bit too out of balance as well?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can use the different mantras to say, we do Surya Namaskara, right? So everybody knows
Yeah.
the sun salutation. So there is a bija mantras for the sun to evoke the sun while you do the sun salutation in the morning to give you that warmth, the strength, the courage, and confidence, and all those things. So there is a moon salutation too. If you're so hyper and aggressive and agitated, you want to calm yourself, then you do the moon mantra with moon practice or a moon salutation with the moon mantras. So the mantras have effect to, either impacts dosha directly or increase your agni, or calm or helps your circulation. Basically, mantras works directly on your mind, and mind is connected to your body, and so still calm energy. And simple thing is, you probably heard this mantra called Om Namah Shivaya.
Mm.
Yeah. So basically, utterance of this mantra is completely awareness of that I am here, surrounded by things that I'm part of it. And then the Nama Shivaya is related to the five elements. So basically, you invoke that balance of the five elements where your body is also made up of five elements. You find this complete harmony and unity of the five elements around you and the five elements in you, finding that balance and just finding that connection. So that's the simplest way to understand the Om Namah Shivaya, other than you connecting to the deity Shiva, who is the destroyer or who is who encloses everything.
Wow. So deep and powerful. And I
Mhm.
think as
It
we,
also depends on where is your consciousness, and you will connect to those mantras in that way. The mantra will
yeah,
come to you. Your consciousness will catch that because it's all exists there. Only that the radio radio tuning, the wavelength needs to happen as you work on yourself.
yeah, amazing. And that gives us some inspiration to work on ourselves. So we've been through a lot today, from mantras to yantras to yoga. Um, as we slowly begin to wrap up, is there any um, uh, advice you'd like to give people in how they can start to incorporate this slowly, practically? Maybe they haven't come across mantras or yoga before. Some basic
Mhm.
steps they can
Mhm.
use in their daily
Mhm.
life for the health and well-being.
Mhm. Yeah. And those who are listening here, or accidentally bounce against this podcast, if you're curious and something you resonate with what you heard from this, simple, you can all start with the Omkara.
Mm.
So Omkara is the sound of the world. Also, somewhere I read that the scientists, when they got as close as they could and catch the sound vibration from the sun, it sounded very similar to Om. So we can all start with the Omkara, which is the sound of the universe. So just chant that or play that as in the background. As I said, the pathway to master any mantra is to pronounce it loud, whisper, have that repeat in your head, and then the omkara, you just hear it. So I have heard some people just say they hear this sound, they hear the mantra. The mantra comes to them without you consciously thinking of that mantra. So this is how the ajapa concept that I mentioned before. So you can start with omkara, or if you, another thing to mention here, we didn't talk about the kirtans. Kirtan is some of the small part of the shlokas, or part of the stotra, taken it and then repeated over the time. You can start with doing some kirtan because it's fun, it's musical, you sing together. So it's another way to connect to this vibration and energy, and allow the power of those chanting or songs to flow to you. Basically we say that it flows into your heart and then it does the magic.
Wow, that's amazing advice, people. I think I really resonate with Kirtan as well, um,
Mhm.
of course. So thank you. And where can people find you, Sujatha, Dr. Sujatha, if they're interested in connecting, and
Mhm.
also if they'd like to visit your Ayurvedic center in Bali?
Yeah, you can reach out through our website, www.amrtasiddhi.com, or our Instagram with the same name, AmrtaSiddhi. So we will be having more courses and study things online and live. So curious, either through the website or Instagram, you can reach out, and yeah, so this is the way to reach me and my
Fantastic.
team.
And I'll put also the quiz below because I think that would also be helpful for people to understand their dosha. And I'm looking forward to
Mhm.
hearing how that new development goes, and I'm super excited for you and the team. So thank you again, Dr. Sujatha, for taking this time and explaining all of your deep wisdom to us. And yeah, thank you everybody for watching.
You're very welcome, and thanks for organizing this and inviting me. And see you in the next one.
Thank you.
Okay, bye bye.